Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Little Shop of Horrors off-Broadway at the Westside Theatre, and I got to see this weekend, and I'm a big fan of the show itself and Howard Ashman's work, and getting to see this on stage for the first time after falling in love with the film, it was a very different experience, especially because, film has a happy ending. This does not, but I do feel like the actual stage ending, which this sticks to faithfully, really does hit harder, because this is a story of a young man who works at a flower shop on Skid Row and finds this alien plant that begins wanting to be fed blood, human blood, and this young man, Seymour, winds up feeding it, and Seymour winds up doing some not great things, trying to be a success, try to do his best with this plant, and winning the heart of Audrey, his co-worker at this flower shop. And the ending, I feel like, is much more of this darker, twisted fairy tale type ending that you would expect from traditional fairy tales, and I think that works a lot better for this show. But along the way, it's a fun one. It is a relatively short musical on Broadway. It's without the intermission, it was probably only an hour and 45 minutes. It's brisk. It has a great pace to it. It has a lot of fun. There's a lot of great musical numbers. Skid Row, Little Shop of Horrors, Dentist, Suddenly Seymour, and just so many of those songs just hit so well, especially on stage, and it does have more than the film does. And those smaller type musical numbers that got cut from this show when it got adapted into a film, I thought they were fun. They added some flair to the show as well. And from the set design, they make the most of a very limited set on stage with basically just a flower shop and just the stoops out on Skid Row. They make the most of it, but the Audrey 2, the giant plant, is certainly the star, going from a hand puppet to this giant machine that works so well, is so believable, and really comes to life thanks to Aaron Arnell Harrington, who is the voice of Audrey 2 in this show. I think he brings a lot of personality. He really makes this character come to life on stage, along with all of those who are under there making the mechanics work and bringing it to life. The team of Weston Chandler Long, Teddy Udane, and Naja Hetzberger, they all do a fantastic job bringing it to life. This had Constance Wu of Crazy Rich Asians fame and Hustlers fame and Fresh Off the Boat fame as Audrey, and I feel like she was a little too cool for this character in particular, but I really did enjoy her performance a lot. It was a bit of an adjustment because you're used to just this high-pitched voice from Audrey, and Constance Wu doesn't have that kind of voice, but she still gives a good performance. She really sells the character her best and really sells the look as well. Corbin Bleu from High School Musical plays Seymour, and his physicality on stage was absolutely fantastic. But honestly, Bryce Pinkman, who played the dentist Orrin and a whole bunch of other characters, is so off the wall with his performances and so committed to all these strange, ridiculous characters that he has to play. He was the real MVP of the show, and especially his dentist performance is so unhinged and all over the place and really works for this crazy, campy horror musical on stage. And Brad Oscar, who plays Mr. Mushnick, he does a really great job, but a special shout out to DeKayla Unique Whitley, Tiffany Renee Thompson, and Khadija Senko, who are the singers, the urchins, the muses, Ronette, Crystal, and Chiffon, who are out there singing all the songs. I do feel like some of the numbers do lack that big cast kind of singing, Skid Row and especially Skid Row felt so much bigger and richer in the film because it was a whole neighborhood of people singing. But generally, this is such a fun time, just a wonderful turn, and just I had a blast with this stage performance, this musical, and I highly recommend it. So head on over to, if you can, go off to Broadway, go to the Westside Theatre, and have a blast checking out Little Shop of Horrors. But those are my thoughts on this show. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some musicals. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.